Hello and welcome back to EFD. Yes, I am a new face on the channel. My name is James. Usually I'm behind the camera. Today I'm in front. But enough about me. Let's get on with the video. Today we'll be looking at the top 10 banned football teams. Let's go. 10. Yugoslavia. In 1987, Yugoslavia were at the top of the footballing world. Literally, the country's under-20s triumphed at that year's Youth World Cup with a team containing Boban, Suka and Mijatovic, beating off Brazil, Italy and East Germany, who were led by the future Ballon d'Or winner Matija Sama. Yugoslavia didn't even field their strongest team, leaving Mihajovic and Bokšić at home, both whom would go on to win the Champions League. 4 years later, Yugoslavia were tearing up qualifications for Euro 92. They finished top of their group, scoring 3 goals a game across the campaign and conceded just 4 in 8, putting them amongst the favourites for the tournament. But the outbreak of civil war in the nation saw the national team hit with suspension, just 11 days before the competition started. Denmark took their place and against all odds went on to win the Euros. Yugoslavia gradually dissolved. They are now 7 different nations which were formerly Yugoslavian, including Bosnia and Croatia, who in 1998 reached a remarkable 3rd in the World Cup, with 5 of the 1987 under-20 side in the squad. 9. Peacehaven. The most recent entry on our list, and perhaps the most ridiculous, Peacehaven is a tiny Sunday League side, playing their football in the Sussex Sunday Premier Division. But they have recently broken records by becoming the smallest club ever convicted of match fixing. Going into the final day of last season, Peacehaven and their arch rivals AFC 2015 both had a shot at the title, as did Peacehaven's final opponents, the stupidly named Real Rosehill. With just seconds left in that match, Rosehill were up 3-2, needing one more goal to win the league, while Peacehaven had virtually no chance of getting upfield to rescue the tie. Doing the maths, coach Sean Logicky shouted from the touchline, "Let them score," and Rosehill walked it in to win the game and the title. That meant AFC 2015 missed out, consoling Peacehaven for missing out themselves. But the FA took the matter seriously, fining the club £750 and banning Logicky from football for 5 years. When asked why they hated AFC 2015 so much, the manager said, "One of the lads that we have up top suffers from a skin condition and the AFC's coach was calling him Pizza Face." Not very nice, is it? 8. Bosnia. FIFA have never been known for reason or sensitivity, but back in 2011 the governing body outdid themselves when they banned Bosnia from international football. At the time, the nation was set to take 2nd place in their qualifying group for Euro 2012, with Pjanic and Dzeko helping the country outscore leaders France. In the aftermath of the Yugoslavian war, the Bosnian FA found a solution for the racial tension splintering the region. The president of the FA would rotate between Bosniak, Croat and Serb, making sure all groups guaranteed a fair hearing. But FIFA, always considerate, decided that under 20 years should be sufficient to heal centuries-old ethnic problems, and told Bosnia that they had to elect a single president. The Bosnian FA unsurprisingly refused, and they were suspended for 2 months before a special committee took over. Bosnia missed out on the Euros in a 6-2 playoff loss to Portugal, but the ban actually turned out to be a good thing, with the FA taking the opportunity to root out corruption. One former official was given 5 years in prison for embezzling money from the organisation. Typical FIFA, the one time they do something good, they do it by accident. 7. FC Twente. Between 2008 and 2011, FC Twente finished 2nd in the Eredivisie twice and won the competition once, their first title since 1926. It looked like they were set to rival the Big Three for years to come, but, as so often, financial problems saw the golden age cut short. 2015 was a nightmare year for Twente. First, the club president stepped down after being accused of financial mismanagement, and then the side was hit with 2 separate 3-point deductions in 2 months. Twente had to sack 18 employees and dissolve their scouting department, and they quietly began to sell shares of their players to third-party investors, which FIFA had made illegal. The rights to 7 Twente players were sold to Doyen Sports Investment, a company owned by Indonesian billionaire Erick Thohir, who also owns Inter Milan and DC United. The Dutch FA got wind of this and promptly banned Twente from European competition for 3 years, although given that they finished 13th and 7th in the last 2 campaigns, the ban didn't end up mattering. 6. Fenerbahce. With 19 domestic titles, Fenerbahce are the 2nd most successful club in Turkish history, though the number should really be 18. In 2011, they pipped Trabzonspor on goal difference to lift the Super League trophy, but it subsequently emerged they had fixed key games during the season. Fener's presidents and 2 vice presidents were given a combined 9 years and 3 months in prison, and 7 other club officials were given penalties ranging from short jail times to a ban on all football-related activities. The club itself was given a 2-year suspension from all involvement in the UEFA competitions, returning to the competition in 2015, while Besiktas were also sidelined for a season. They've since won another title. We look forward to finding out whether they actually did it legally. 5. Bastia. At 112 years old, Bastia, from the French island of Corsica, have been around as long as Chelsea and 65 years longer than Paris Saint-Germain. The Ticini have never won Ligue 1, and in fact are better known for racism of their fans than the quality on the field. And an ugly side saw them handed a 3-match stadium ban after supporters racially abused Mario Balotelli in 2017. Somehow their season went downhill from there. Bastia lost 20 league games to finish bottom of the table, scoring a measly 29 goals in 38 matches. But not content with one relegation, Bastia were demoted again after their finances were checked and it was found that the club couldn't afford to play in Ligue 2. Having spent 5 years in the top flight, Bastia are now competing in the Championnat National 3, the 5th tier of French football. To put that into perspective, it's like Bournemouth getting relegated to the Conference to play against the likes of Maidstone United and Dover Athletic. Still, we doubt anybody will be sad to see the back of their douchebag fans. 4. Nigeria. Much like Yugoslavia, Nigeria was set to compete for the World Cup in the 1990s. The under-16s had won the World Cup in 1985 and reached the final 2 years later. The under-20s came second in 1989 and the under-17s triumphed in 1993. Pelé was so impressed that he added to his incredible CV of shit predictions saying, "An African team will win the World Cup by 2000. Perhaps he should have done his research. At the time, the senior Nigerian team was suspended from international football for 2 years, after it transpired that some of their players from 1988 Olympics had changed their birth dates. It turned out that age fraud was still rife in Nigerian football, and it still is, with players like Obafemi Martins and Yakubu reportedly up to 10 years older than they claim. Nigeria have come second once and first 3 times in their last 5 under-17 World Cups. But before the 2009 edition, when it was announced that age tests would be conducted, the nation swiftly removed 15 players from their squad. Not suspicious at all. 3. Liverpool. In 1985, Liverpool faced Juventus in the European Cup final, but that day became infamous for something else: the Heysel Stadium disaster. A riot in a ground built 6 years earlier and crumbling into ruin led to the deaths of 39 people, and all English clubs were banned from European competition for 5 years as a result. Liverpool would be suspended for 6. The head of the Belgian FA, the local chief of police and 14 Liverpool supporters served prison time, while over 600 survivors underwent treatment for injuries sustained at Heysel. The decision to extend the ban to other clubs may seem harsh, but Leeds, Man United and Tottenham had all been involved in football riots across Europe in the previous decade, and the blood made UEFA finally take a stand. It took 30 years for Liverpool and Juventus to acknowledge the disaster fully, and the horror of May 29th, 1985, and for Liverpool, the shame, will remain with both clubs forever. 2. The Iranian women's team. Remarkably, Iran was once a leader in women's football. Before the 1979 revolution, the women's team played without hijabs, but during the brutal regime of Ayatollah Khomeini, their freedoms became restricted. The female national team was only allowed to reform in 2005, and only on condition that the women remained covered up. Once again, FIFA decided they knew better, and in 2011 decreed that women could not play in anything which covered their neck and ears, a rule they could not follow without risking reprisal from Iran's authoritarian government. As a result, the team, which had reached the second round of qualifying in the 2012 Olympics, had to sit out 4 matches, receiving automatic 3-0 losses in all of them. Iranian women's contribution to sport continues to go unrecognised. Women remain banned from entering sports stadiums in the country, and in 2015 the women's team was once more in the news, this time because 8 men were playing for them. 1. Dick Kerr's Ladies. Arguably the greatest football team you've never heard of, Dick Kerr's Ladies were founded in 1917 by women working in munition factories to produce arms for the First World War. After beating the men of the factory in a kickabout, the women organised themselves into a proper team, raising money for injured servicemen, and once attracted a crowd of 53,000 to Goodison Park, the same attendance as Liverpool's average now. But this success started to threaten the popularity of the men's game. In 1921, the FA passed a resolution stating that the game of football is quite unsuitable for females and should not be encouraged. The organisation banned women from playing at FA grounds, meaning Dick Kerr's ladies could only play in smaller amateur fields and crippling the female game overnight. The club continued operating until 1965, and when it was finally disbanded, the team had a record of 758 wins in 828 games, a whopping 92%. They had lost just 24 games in 48 years. It was another 5 years until the FA overturned the ban, a full half century after it started. So that was our top 10 banned teams. If you agreed with us or disagreed with us, let us know in the comments below. And as always guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.